What's up, everybody? 5869 here with another episode of an RD2L Season 8 in-house. So it's pretty, I guess, stacked in-house, you could say. A lot of, well, not a lot, but more 5K players than we're used to seeing. We've got a couple at around 5.6, 5.2, 5.3, a couple 4Ks, and then a couple 3Ks straggling along at the bottom there. But could be a pretty good game in terms of individual skill. A couple guys we've seen here before: Dark Sheep, Soleedus, Casey, Punani, 659. A lot of guys we see pretty often here, so it's going to be a pretty enjoyable game so far. Bands fairly standard: 6.85, Veno, Lich, Earthshaker, Disruptor. A lot of supports getting prioritized here, while they're going to allow Doom, Wyvern, and Dazzle through. Jakiro actually going to be getting picked up here, and don't see that one all that often. Does give you a nice bit of damage over time. That Macro Pyre you can just lay down on top of the Wyvern Cold Embrace, perhaps just completely void that out. You've got an Ice Path on top of that as well on the Cold Embrace, so right when somebody's about to pop out of that one, you just throw the Ice Path down, pretty much a guaranteed hit. Obviously, Dual Breath and Liquid Fire, some of the best lane-winning spells here, and with Doom and Jakiro, the Radiant's already going to have really strong lane presence. The Dire looking to try and counter that one out with a little bit of burst heal as well as just survivability overall. And they're going to pick up the Gyrocopter right outside of that. So they're going to have strong laning presence as well here. And this is going to be a pretty interesting game right off of minute 0, as it will be an AA pickup here, which is pretty huge considering both the supports on the Dire here rely heavily on getting their heals off in order to be useful. Dazzle does have the Grave as well as the Weave, not that bad. Wyvern, Winter's Curse, obviously a fantastic spell. And look at that, Darkseer going to be picked up, going to make Doom a little bit hesitant to farm the lane here in the safe lane. Going to be fairly annoying for him. So we'll see if they're going to want to rotate him off into the off lane. But especially throughout the Frankfurt qualifiers, we've seen quite a bit of teams picking up that safe lane. Doom just grabbing, depending on, who the player is, either the Tranquil Boots, perhaps the Phase Boots. Just get drums on top of that. You grab the Crit Wolf. And with the changes to Scorched Earth now, it's just so hard to kill that Doom. That damage over time is ridiculous. And it's pretty hard to deal with, and it will be an Alchemist. Could be a mid-Alchemist, I imagine, as it will be fairly tough for him to farm up against the Darkseer. Obviously, Alchemist, fairly squishy up until that level 6. You get that ultimate, and you can really try to burst heal through that Ion Shell damage. But what is good about the Radiant Alchemist here is that in the mid lane, it's actually very easy for him to stack Ancients while going to get a rune for himself. So you can either run up to the Ancients around the 47, 48 minute mark, stack them, and then walk towards the top rune. Or you can even hit it with the Acid Spray from the low ground. You barely even have to leave the lane. And we'll see if they're going to be playing that with the mid lane Alchemist here. Trying to stack up the Ancients, get him a little bit of early burst farm here. And, we usually see the Radiance into Manta build. Octarine Core hasn't been experimented with that much. I do really favor that. But yet again, the Radiant does have the potential of some strong lanes. Aside from this mid lane, especially with that Shadow Fiend pickup. Not a lot of heroes that'll beat that, unless they go to grab something like a Queen of Pain to throw up in the mid lane against the Shadow Fiend. But even then, it's just so good for him. Thankfully for the Radiant, it isn't, on the Radiant side. So Shadow Fiend not going to be as efficient with those neutral camps. Probably going to be easy stacks, though, for the Wyvern and the Dazzle. As the Gyrocopter, fantastic in lane against, one hero. Unless they choose to run an aggro tri-lane and try to pressure the Shadow Fiend a little bit more by taking away the possibility of stacks for him. And that could be a way that the Alchemist kind of gets ahead on this when he stacks himself here, gets the Ancient stacked up, perhaps a couple neutral camps on his side, and just runs through that, especially if he can get a few favorable bounty runes. It's going to be really difficult for the Shadow Fiend to kind of, catch up to that farm. And Shadow Fiend usually not that bad from behind, but against somebody like an Alchemist who has the potential to really just completely take him over in terms of net worth, it's going to be fairly difficult for our Dire Shadow Fiend player to comfortably, hold on to this game here. And just going to go turn on the open mic quickly for all of those that may be listening in game, but should be a pretty good game, as we were saying. Radiant really digging in deep for this last pick here, as maybe not all that comfortable with running the Alchemist mid, and with two other cores being melee heroes, you don't really want to throw either against the Darkseer. You could throw the Doom in the safe lane, but you're probably not going to run an off lane Alchemist here, and most likely they're going to be looking for either the safe laner or the off laner. It's kind of difficult because the Doom is a very flexible pick here. I think right now, though, if they want to grab a safe laner, Slark not that bad actually at dealing with the Dazzle and the Wyvern. He's pretty good at getting behind them. Darkseer, Slark can get around that wall fairly easily. And perhaps pop his ultimate there as well, so he doesn't have to worry about his illusion fighting through on him. And could be a pretty nice pickup. And instead, they'll go for the Wraith King. So a triple melee core up against a Gyrocopter, Wyvern, Darkseer, and Shadow Fiend. That's very scary, especially since a lot of their damage is physical. And we're going to have the Weave to work with here on the Dazzle. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the Radiant pulls this one off. They're going to have a lot of early game potential once it starts hitting about that, 15 to 20 minute mark. They might look to group up with the Wraith King, grab that, lifesteal that he's going to give his team. Punani maybe going to be picking up perhaps Frost Armor here. KC, we'll see what he's going to get here. He's probably going to go for a Bottle Rush, but they really should just rotate all 5 heroes towards one rune if they want to make sure that they get at least one bounty rune over here on our Alchemist, who is going to buy the Ring of Protection, get a couple Tangos pulled here as well. So just going double Ring of Protection build here with triple pooled Tangos. And this is a weird build if I've ever seen it. If he's able to get his hands on the rune, which, look at this, the Dire doing exactly what they need to. Who cares if the Doom gets the bounty rune? If you can deny the bounty rune over here from KC, it's going to be absolutely massive in impacting his early game here. Shadow Fiend perhaps could look to get a nice early game start. Both teams, though, with a ton of team fight potential here. And early on, we're going to have a lot of stun, a lot of burst damage from the Dire. We'll see if he is going to choose to scale Raze first. Shallow Grave going to be able to keep somebody alive a little bit longer. Splinter Blast as well as Arctic Burn could be really effective in these early skirmishes, and it will be Ice Path level 1. They're already pinging out the Alchemist. It looks like we might go for the fight right now. Dark Sheep still yet to scale, and there it is, the pause. And yeah, Dark Sheep Flame incoming. So it's going to be very difficult. Looks like Dark Sheep in the wrong place, wrong time. There's the Chilling Touch to go down. Ice Path going to be off the mark. Soleedus not even going to have to worry about walking into that one. Casey planting himself on the rune will be able to grab it here. And did he only get 100 gold for that? Oh, he didn't scale Grievel's Greed. Oh, that's a massive blunder. A massive blunder on his part that he doesn't scale Grievel's Greed there. That's huge. Just missing out on a 400 gold. And now he's going to have an annoying time in this mid lane. We'll scale it now, but it's a little too late here, Casey. Unfortunately, won't be able to get that extra gold. Maybe a little bit unsure if he wanted Grievel's Greed or perhaps the Unstable Concoction, as it will be an aggressive tri-lane from the Dire here. Maybe expecting an aggressive tri-lane from the Radiant, trying to dodge that one. But instead, they'll just leave Darkseer 1v1ing against the Doom. And Doom with the Scorched Earth, easily going to be able to do that. And look at these heroes. You've got an Ancient Apparition with a Chilling Touch, 2 ranged heroes, and a Wraith King who's very annoying early on with that Wraith Fire Blast. They've got to be careful, as there's a ton of damage potential, especially once we get into the level 2, level 3 of the Jakiro. We'll be easily able to spam out that Liquid Fire with no cost to him. Acid Spray going to go down in the mid lane. KC still able to secure a nice bit of CS, and look at that. He's already 5 for 1 up against the 2 for 2 on Dark Sheep here, who does tank up a little bit of that Acid Spray. Meanwhile, it looks like First Blood in the bot lane. Soleedus is going to grab that one. Icy Butt's in a little bit of trouble right now. No Ice Path for another 4 seconds, but they will just leave it at that. That's maybe not expecting the Poison Touch. Scaled first here. Top lane Doom. Just right under tower now. Darkseer hasn't used Dawn Shell yet, surprisingly enough, as 659 does have the Mango here, and Soleedus going to tank up some creeps a little bit here. It looks like 659 getting really aggressive now. Proton did start off with the Arctic Burn as well, so a ton of slow over here for this Wraith King. Has to be so careful with how he positions himself. Just juking around a little bit, pretending to throw out that Wraith Fire Blast. Won't actually do so, as our Alchemist getting a little bit low in the mid lane. It looks like Shadow Fiend is going to go for the raises here. Does he have the long range raise? He does. Just needs a couple more right clicks as well as the raise. KC, though, will find himself an Invis Rune and does have the bottle here as well, as should be able to grab that CS. Bounty Rune getting pinged out bot lane. And a little bit annoying that you won't be able to grab that one on the Alchemist. And here we go. We are going to have a pause, as Dazzle did just steal that Bounty Rune. And Dark Sheep probably a little bit annoyed with that one here. Fortunately, Dazzle does steal that one top lane. Doom really having the time of his life. He's now 6-0 up against the 6-6, so Darkseer doing exceptionally well with his last hits and denies. We do have the War Stomp creep now on Punani, so some potential for a kill here. And it will just be the boots now for Dark Sheep. So going to try and use that mobility advantage to dip in and out of this lane. But already, is this going to be the boots? No, just the Bottle Crow for KC. But he's going to have the boots as well. So a nice Bottle Crow. For those of you who are a little bit uncertain about when to Bottle Crow, you know, when it's good, when it's not, KC's going to be able to Bottle Crow here. He's going to be grabbing his boots anyways, so by the time he brings it back, he's going to have a full bottle as well as the boots. Punani does have the stomp here. If he wants to use it, is going to use it. No, not yet, but he could easily get this kill if he does so. It looks like BMO instead will just salve up here. Punani has to be a little bit careful. No score shirt for him. Does go for the level death, but not going to really favor him right now as it is. A level 3 giving him bonus damage. Punani's going to go down. Not sure what he was doing there. Level death, as we all know, does do a little bit more damage potentially depending on what level you're at. And unfortunately, looks like they're not going to be at the proper level here. Sabin going to get blocked by the creeps here. And it looks like the creeps actually are going to get pulled by the Dire. So going to be a nice little pickup for them. Aquila, full Aquila on Soleedus before boots. So going to look for that mana regen as well as the bonus armor up in this tri-lane. And that could be a little bit helpful here as Dark Sheep does just rotate into the jungle here now. And not something you see every day. The Alchemist really controlling this mid lane is going to grab his boots as well as the Sage's Mask here. And where's the SF? Exactly. He's just going to rotate into the jungle. So it seems like the Dire having a little bit of issues here. KC doing fairly well now. 19 for 2. Does miss that last CS there. And he's got the Basilius. Is he just going to look to pressure out the tower? It looks like it will be an illusion picked up here. As well as the bounty getting grabbed by the Wyvern. So unfortunately for KC, won't be able to take a rune here. But does have the full bottle anyways. So not all that worried. Still with a tango left. And just off that level 6 mark here. Ice Path going to go down. Looks like they'll be able to get a kill on the Gyrocopter. Looks like Homing Missile going to go down on 659. And it's not a level 2 Homing Missile. Didn't fly all that far. Did do quite a bit of damage. But BMO will salve up here again. It looks like he ferried out a salve. Does have the completed Soul Ring, I believe. No, almost completed Soul Ring, though. Getting fairly close here. That first blood really helping out. These boots going to mean that the Doom can't really pressure him out that easily now that he does have boots as well. Won't have that move speed advantage until he uses Scorched Earth here. As Wyvern does grab the heal. Iron Shell going to be really annoying now for Punani, who does have the 4 points in the Scorched Earth now. Yeah, as we said, level death. So the hero level multiplier is going to be 6. So it's going to be at least until level 6, which he does have now. Level death will do a little bit more damage for those of you that don't know. They take 20% of their maximum HP, which at about 800, 900 HP, 20% of that isn't all that bad. Certainly going to be better against these strength heroes. Although there are none to speak of on the side of the Dire here, so just a bunch of intelligence and agility. KC here going to start farming some stacks, and now with the 2 points into the Grievevil's Greed, really going to help him get towards his Radiance now, as that's what I imagine he's going to build. Probably just going to go for the phase boots into the Radiance, potentially, most likely. Probably the better build. Could grab the treads just to give you a little bit of tankability here as well, but I think the phase boots, Gyrocopter in the bot lane, Soleedus will dive the Jakiro and get a kill under tower, but as we were saying, the phase boots do give you the option to really get that move speed bonus when you've got the unstable concoction, and it's incredibly important. Nice KC, there he is, the luck of the Irish, gonna grab that bounty rune, and that's a nice bit of gold for him. As he will just bottle up after that, about 300 gold to be exact here, and gonna be getting a nice bit of bonus gold here as well from these neutral creeps. As Sabin actually going to be able to soak up some nice EXP as well as some farm in this mid lane, and it looks like he is actually going to get that D-ward as well, which is pretty important here. Salve now, pop by Punani. Not doing all that bad in his lane. Almost has the completed phase boots here as well. It looks like bot lane, the Dire getting ready to go on a fight. 659 going to rotate right behind the Gyrocopter. There's the Ice Path going to go down. Soleedus going to completely dodge that one. Just run past it. And now the Homing Missile as well as a couple right clicks should be enough to get the kill. Dual Breath going to go out here as well. Porcupine's got to be a little bit careful taking some of that damage from the Liquid Fire as well. But it's not going to be enough. Easily able to get that kill with only 2 of the supports. Mid lane Proton going to be getting a little bit of EXP. So it looks like both teams in this mid lane going to give a little bit of EXP to their supports, and that's going to be very helpful here as Dark Sheep. Looks like Punani going to rotate up, and he's got the Doom here as well. Scorched Earth going to be enough, and Dark Sheep just going to say, alright, I'll take this last CS. Maybe get a deny in the mid lane. TP in from the Dazzle. TP in from the Dazzle. Does he have the Shallow Grave? He does have it. He's going to use it, and it looks like Dark Sheep may actually live here. Doom's about to run out. Shallow Grave getting very close here as well. Dark Sheep is going to bottle up through this, and now Punani's getting a little bit aggressive here. Going to take up quite a bit of damage. Dark Sheep doesn't want to give up this one just yet. The Wyvern rotating in from the mid lane. Porcupine still chasing this one out. No poison touch, as well as nowhere near the range to be able to get that one. Arctic Burn not going to be able to catch him, and it looks like Punani should be able to get out fairly safe here, but Dark Sheep will be able to rotate back into the jungle here. So nice for the Dire here that Punani isn't able to secure a kill off that level 1 Doom. And instead, he'll just have to turn around and start farming top lane now. Could see them give up some nice CS for that as Icy Butt's getting a little bit low. Soleedus is going to lead it with the Rocket Barrage. Not going to be enough, though. He's going to get stunned up now, and it looks like 659 could get quite aggressive here. Ice Path has to be careful here with the Ice Path. Looks like he really wants this one, and Icy Butts will just turn around after that. Not comfortable going for that kill, and Soleedus will just salve up and get out of that one as well. Even with the Dazzle bot lane, fairly safe now, and it looks like Soleedus wants to go into 659. Not level 6 just yet. Soleedus ready to dive it, and just look at the damage from the Rocket Barrage. Will easily be able to do so. Willie to Wraithfire Blast, but not before he gets the kill. Dazzle actually going to be the one to secure that, and looks like Punani 16 seconds before the Doom comes off cooldown. 100 seconds seems almost ridiculous for Doom. As if we take a look at the CS, Shadow Fiend actually catching up quite well to KC despite not even being in lane whatsoever. Net worth and EXP just about even. The Dire a little bit ahead on that one. If we take a look though, obviously KC leading net worth massively, almost by, well, actually over than 1,000 compared to pretty well everybody on the opposing team there, and he's got 2.8k now, so really looking for that Radiance Rush. Not even going to finish up his boots before he does so. Bot lane, it looks like they may be able to dive on an Icy Butts here. Won't do so just yet, and it seems like right, so a little bit of lag there, and looks like Hastern will get picked up by Sabin. Should be able to get out of this one. Has the Tranquil Boots mid lane. 659, still not level 6. And this is so annoying for him. Shadow Fiend now hitting fairly hard here. Does have 33 souls. Going to get 34 after that CS. And it looks like now there may be a little bit of a till in the jungle. Soleedus going to start things off here. Top lane. Doom will kill Darkseer. There's the call down on a 2. Porcupine's going to rotate in. 659. Still no level 6. Will throw out the Wraithfire Blast. And now it looks like Soleedus could get caught out. If they get this kill, he'll be level 6. Proton going to run in. There's the Winter's Curse. 659 going to go down. Soleedus going to be able to live. Not even the neutral creep able to get that kill. And it looks like they'll get out a 3-for-0 trade, 8-for-2 now on the side of the Dire. Or I guess the 3-for-1 trade as the Doom does manage to get a kill on the Darkseer in this top lane. He'll be happy with that one. 1,200 gold on him now, almost 1,300. And he'll be able to finish up potentially the Aghanim Scepter, move into that if he wants to do so. Could grab a Mechanism, give his team a lot more early fighting potential. A mischance on KC. Once he gets the Radiance, it's going to be fairly difficult for the Dire to deal with. And we'll see what they're going to want to do after that. They do have a nice bit of magical burst damage on the Gyrocopter, so maybe just going to go straight for the BKB on Doom here. We do see, like we said, the drums build fairly often as well. Drums Aquila give you a nice bit of team fight, and since we've only got the Basilius completed on KC now, who should stack the Ancients here, is going for the completed, or I guess the, of course it's going to be completed, but we'll grab the Sacred Relic now, and we'll look towards the top rune, tries to stack, not going to be able to do so, and looks like it will be DD bot lane getting picked up by the Shadow Fiend, and now it looks like Icy Butt's going to be in a bit of trouble. Soleedus to call down. Will cut off Icy Butts here. Does have the Ice Path, but just look at the damage. Ice Path actually going to hit on 2. No rotations just yet. Soleedus getting a little bit low with the Liquid Fire. Should have used the Dual Breath and probably could have secured that kill. Instead, though, won't be able to do so, and Soleedus will just TP out on that one at about 10% HP. KC will pop the ultimate in the mid lane. There's the Ice Shards, as well as the Arctic Burn here. Looks like going to be quite a bit of damage. They don't have the burst to get through KC's ultimate, though, and it looks like Proton has to be a little bit careful. Porcupine going to turn around as well. No Unstable Concoction, though. Looks like instead, almost the completed Radiance now. Should be done by about 13 minutes here. Shadow Fiend in the bot lane. Looks like he is going to rotate through the jungle. They do have this Dire Ward, and we do now have the level 6 on the Wraith King. I believe he just hasn't scaled yet. He's got double Glove of Haste here. Not something I see all that often whatsoever. And it looks like he will be able to get away from this one. Oh no, he actually put it in stats? This is the clowniest RD2L game I think I've seen in a long time. Punani here, now with 1,800 gold. Looks like he may be just saving up for the Blink. Going to give his team a nice bit of initiation here, as they're kind of lacking that. Especially since the Wraith King with the double Glove of Haste. No points into his ultimate just yet. Not going to be all that useful here for the rest of his team. And does have a nice bit of attack speed to jungle here, but that's about it. And does cut down quite a big path here to move between the large and the medium camp. But Dark Sheep playing this really well here in the enemy jungle alongside Soleedus. And they're just limiting the farm that they've got here. KC does finish his Radiance, and now he's going to move over towards the enemy team's jungle. It's just the small creep here. And Does have the completed Radiance now. Porcupine has to be a little bit careful. It's going to be quite a bit of damage here. And just look at those right clicks looking like critical strikes because they deal so much damage. Now it looks like KC ult and off cooldown in about 5 seconds. Call down from Soleedus. There's Punani rotating in. Doom to go down. There's the back wall. The ult on a Punani. He's going to get eaten alive. KC even getting stunned up. And are they going to continue to chase this one? It looks like Sabin's going to rotate in. No ultimate from him as it looks like BMO getting a little bit low. Soleedus going to walk through the acid spray. Not going to go down to the Doom it seems though. And now there it is. Unstable Concoction going to land on BMO. He will die to the Radiance Burn. No way for him to turn this one around. Porcupine rotating back in. There's the Wyvern. Will throw out the Splinter Blast. Soleedus got to be a little bit careful. There's the call down now. KC ultimate about to land off cooldown. And it looks like Proton's rotated in. Doesn't have the Arctic Burn or anything. Splinter Blast going to come off cooldown a little bit. KC needs to throw the Unstable Concoction. Will do so. Grave going to go on to Soleedus. KC can turn this one around. Maybe get enough damage from the burn. It looks like Proton's going to continue the chase. Ice Path going to land here. And it looks like there's the Splinter Blast almost getting the kill. Dual Breath to follow. Proton getting a little bit low here, and it looks like Soleedus not going to turn around just yet. Shadow Fiend with the long range ray is going to come in out of seemingly nowhere, finishes up the Shadow Blade. Icy Butts has to be careful. Dark Sheep will pop the Shadow Blade. Icy Butts still sticking close to his tower. Meanwhile, Wraith King looks like he's getting a little bit aggressive here on his own as well, and it looks like Dark Sheep will find Icy Butts. Where's the right click? There it is. One raise, two raise, one more right click, an easy kill for him. And it looks like we'll end the team fight with that one. 12-3 now. The Dire way ahead on this one. And it seems almost like an outdraft. The Radiant, so tough for them to fight around the wall. The call down, 3 melee cores up against these heroes is just so difficult. Especially with the lack of a Wraith King in all of these fights. And they're really going to have to look to hit a hard timing with potentially the Doom's next item here. Darkseer going to be finishing up a mechanism. And it looks like a Midas on the Wraith King here. And not really sure if that was the item. We're going to miss the kill bot lane thanks to that little bit of lag here. Dark Sheep will manage to find the Doom, and that's a killing spree now on the Shadow Fiend, who had to leave lane, and this looks like it might be an early loss for the Radiant here. KC really going to have to put in a lot of work, but look at the Shadow Fiend. Near the net worth of KC here, and that's not what you want to see. Dark Sheep going to be really happy to see that, I'm sure. And it looks like he may even find the Wraith King here with no ultimate just yet. Does he have a point saved? Looks like he won't see him though. Just outside of that vision from the Observer Ward. Proton does notice him. He's got the Winter's Curse as well. Arctic Burn to start things off. No ultimate scale just yet from 659. And just look at the damage from the Shadow Fiend. Can he maybe get it denied? Looks like no. There's the dominating now for Dark Sheep. ALT not going to hit on anything. TP rotations in from the mid lane. Doom now. And it looks like, are they going to continue to chase this one up to the high ground? They can't walk up this high ground. Punani thinking about it with 2.1k gold here. It looks like Dark Sheep instead will rotate down. The Requiem was used to kill the Doom earlier on, so they won't have that, but they will have the initiation from Dark Sheep. They should have seen him under tower, I believe. You can just barely see on that one. As it looks like the Satyr Banisher gonna walk up to the high ground here. And look at how tanky the Satyr is. 1400 HP. Has the Purge if he wants to use it. Instead, mid lane, it looks like they will be able to get a kill on this Alchemist. And this is huge. Now he's even lower on the net worth charts than the Shadow Fiend, and this is nowhere where you want to be. The Dire really extending their lead off of the laning stage here, and you really saw how important it was for the Radiant to convert off the laning stage. The Doom dying early on really put him behind. The Darkseer now finishing up the mechanism here, as well as bot lane. It looks like Soleedus really had a lane of his own here, and he was able to convert off that as well. Phase Boots, Helm, Aquila, as well as 800 gold, which isn't all that bad for an aggro tri-lane. Does have this nice crit wolf here as well. Alpha Wolf going to be giving him some bonus damage. Could move in a Roshan at any time. Dark Sheep even losing his lane seemingly up against this Alchemist and coming back after just rotating into the jungle. Surviving that Doom was absolutely massive. I really think Punani needed to convert that early level 6 that he was able to get. And looks like he might go down again. Dark Sheep waiting at the side shop. Beautiful play from him. Requiem going to be channeled here right under Punani. And it looks like really wants to get as close as possible. There it is. Is he going to turn around and maybe get the Doom? It looks like not even going to try to do so. Does throw the Scorched Earth, but it's going to be an unstoppable now for Dark Sheep. 4k to his name. And he can just go pure glass cannon. And I'm not sure there's a way to stop him. Could even look for an early Lincoln's here to prevent the Doom. And it looks like it will be glass cannon. Desolator going to be picked up. 659 4 armor. Doom He does have a nice bit of armor. Jakiro as well does have a fair bit of armor on himself here. Does have about 6 armor as well as 900 HP, but realistically, this Deso is going to eat through these heroes. Alchemist does have some nice armor on himself here as well. What's it going to be next here? Does have the completed Radiance, 1700 gold. Is he going to go for the Boots of Travel and really try to split push this game out? I think you have to try and delay it with the Radiance, grab the Boots of Travel, the Manta, perhaps an Octarine Core, and just use these illusions to cut creep waves, spend time in the enemy jungle, and really just buy your team time. Perhaps get the Aghanims for the Wraith King, the Jakiro even, the AA. Just really stretch this game out to the late game because they'll certainly have the damage. They do have a much better Tricore lineup. The Darkseer doesn't really offer that much aside from the Vac Wall, and if you can fight around that, it's going to be fairly easy. They're just going to have to watch around the Winter's Curse. ALT going to land on 4 heroes in the mid lane. Actually, only 3. Dark Sheep barely getting out of that one. Surge to follow up. It looks like, look at this Courier. KC is going to throw out the stun here. He still has the Radiance. Courier just going to walk right up. KC is going to go down. Doom on a BMO now. He's going to be a little bit careful. Stomp to follow up. There's the weave now from the Dazzle. Macropyre and a big choke point here. Soleedus as well as BMO take a lot of damage, but the Grave's going to be there. They won't even be able to get 1 kill. Maybe they will be able to. The Deny, not even going to need it. Dark Sheep looks like he wanted to go for it, not even going to use it, and instead they should just easily look over towards a Roshan now. They've got the lifesteal, they've got the Desolator, they've got the heals, and this should be an easy conversion over to perhaps at least 1 lane of racks for the Dire if they play this one properly, as the Alchemist, absolutely nothing on him. Skeleton King, just even worse here. ALT will fly, not going to hit on anything. 659 finally having his ultimate now, but just look at how scared he has to play. Not where he wants to be, and that's going to be an easy Roshan. They'll give that one to Dark Sheep. And he just hits so hard with the Alpha Wolf as well. KC rotating to the top lane with his Boots of Travel. Gonna try and buy some time. No tier 1 down in this top lane yet. Bot lane, no tier 1. Mid lane, no tier 1. So the Dire just really extending their lead, especially on the tower game. The Radiant finding a lot of difficulty in pushing here and really finding these objectives, despite the fact that they've gotten a Jakiro as well as Punani here. They have quite a bit of push, and the Dire are really going to be taking this game. Look at this net worth lead. This early on, you don't expect this whatsoever. 13k net worth, 13k EXP, and this is getting scarier and scarier for the Radiant. I will say this will be a fantastic comeback if they're able to do so, but it's really going to be a fight uphill in the winter, and it's going to be so difficult for them. Punani just going to rotate over to the jungle, try to get a little bit out from there, as it's really the safest place to farm both heroes in this bot lane. It looks like Jakiro, or excuse me, yeah, Soleedus does see the Jakiro there. There's the homing missile to start things off. Ice Path going to be able to stop Soleedus from continuing the chase here, and Soleedus himself going for an S and Y here. If we take a look to see any other itemization, looks like Doom actually going to go down to Soleedus. But look at this, Porcupine's very close by. Soleedus might even be able to turn around and get a kill here. It looks like instead he'll just make sure he's completely safe, and we've got the heals, we've got the mechanism. We don't even need the shallow grave. It looks like he lost almost no HP, and look at that, a fortuitous regen rune, which he picks up a little bit early. Icy Butts almost getting backed up onto the cliff here. Ice Path gonna go down. Wraith Kling's nearby. Does have the Macropyre, which could be a nice choke here. KC looks like he wants to go for it, and we just need a little bit from Icy Butts here. KC exploding, walking into the wall. Macropyre gonna go down, but it's way too late here. Arctic Burn gonna fly here. Proton gonna help get that kill, and it looks like it's gonna be a 20-minute GG. They're going to call it here and now. Alchemist, not a hero that should be behind whatsoever. And yeah, it's going to be the GG. So it looked like the Dire had a rocky start here, but they're going to come around, convert off their laning stage advantage, and really take this game. So good game, well played to both teams. And a 21-minute game, so it didn't take all that long. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching over on YouTube as well as live in-game. And do take care. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. I have my series From Lane to Lane where I just cast some everyday pubs that you guys send me. I also do some more professional pubs like games from Koikva, Miracle, whoever I can get my hands on from Dodobuff. I have a learning series as well, so feel free to check that out. There's some more info in the description as well as some videos linked in the annotations at the end here. Thanks a lot.